Welcome back to Off the Field
What's
Podcast,
up, guys?
everybody. Episode number 39. We have another friend of mine joining us today, a fellow content creator with over 450,000 followers on TikTok. It is Trevor Fahnstrom. How you doing, man?
How you doing, Trev?
Great, man. Good to see you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Man,
Of
I
course, of course.
love that we're starting to get the content creators here on Off the Field. I really appreciate it.
Uh,
And you are Chicago based, born and raised. It's in your blood. So, to make you feel a little more
It is.
comfortable today, fit the part. We have
Oh, yes.
here
Yes.
here
All
we
right,
go.
perfect.
We got a
Hot
nice
start. I
little
love it.
Cubs, little
nice little cubby.
Bryant from back.
All right, can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Very nice. I
So
love it.
as I put that on, Mobo, why don't you start with the first questions?
Yeah, of course. So for the listeners and viewers that don't know, Trevor Fahnstrom, fellow sports creator with over 400,000 followers on TikTok. Just wanted to ask, so you're kind of on the same boat as us, being in SoCal with two different teams around the area. For us, I mean, it's classic Angels and Dodgers. For you, on the other hand, it would be Cubs and White Sox. How, if you could just explain it a bit, how'd you end up just choosing the Cubs? Or, I mean, ended up on the Cubs?
You know what? I was born into it. My parents raised me a Cubs fan.
Yeah.
Everybody in my family is a Cubs fan. I grew up going to Cubs games, and that's just always been my team. I don't know if I was necessarily taught from a young age to dislike the White Sox.
Mhm.
I really honestly don't feel much of a rivalry between the two. I think partially that's because we're either one team's really good and one team's really bad at the same time. They kind of switch off. But
Mhm.
I've never really had any like hard feelings towards the White Sox. But I will always be Cubs fan till the day I die.
I had a feeling with you, it was like obviously family, born into it. With me,
Mhm.
I had no family involvement in sports. So I found baseball at like 10 years old. I'm like, well, the Angels are like right here. So I'm going with the Angels. And we made sure when he got into baseball, we forced him into it. And we're like, you're not choosing the Dodgers, you're choosing the Angels.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Well, you know what? I'm
that's
glad I made this because right now both California teams are not looking too good.
no, not at all,
Nah.
not at all. Except
So-
one kind of has a little bit of hope. The other one,
Yeah,
Austin, I'm sorry, bro. I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on.
I don't know what our plan is, honestly.
Trust me, even us being Angels fans, diehard Angel fans, we're in purgatory right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I don't think they know their plan either. To be
they
honest.
don't. They don't.
Um,
First step should be selling the team, Marty Moreno. Should have done it
yes,
last year.
I agree.
Favorite all-time Cub as a Cubs fan?
Ooh, I feel like most people will go with like the Ryan Sandbergs, the Andre Dawsons, but I'm not going to be one of those guys to claim them because they played before I was alive.
Yeah.
So, for me growing up, Derek Lee was a huge one for me.
I remember
Derek
him.
Lee was great. I loved Ryan Terrio, the
Oh
Riot.
wow.
Okay. That's my first Cubs jersey. Well, not my first Cubs jersey, but one of my first most memorable Cubs jerseys that I owned. I loved. He was just like a little bulldog, a little tiny
Mhm.
guy, but he would get the job done. So those were my two favorite guys growing up, I would say.
What about right now? Because this team, they made some noise. They didn't get to the postseason, but they fought and did a lot more than what people were thinking, I would say.
Man, it was the most roller coaster season I think I've ever experienced as a Cubs fan. Halfway through the season, I'm like, oh, it's over. Shut it all down.
Yeah.
But then at the end, it's like, wait a minute, we're actually good again.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we're going to make the playoffs. And then we played the worst month of baseball I probably ever witnessed a professional
Oh.
baseball team do in that final month. But you know what? There was a lot to take from that whole thing. There was a lot of positives, and hopefully we move forward. But my favorite player on this team right now, Stroman has always been a guy for me. But Dansby Swanson is my guy right now. I think he's my hair.
I was
my
about to
hair
say,
guy.
you guys share some similar flow.
Yeah, and I had the opportunity to meet him at the All-Star game in 2022 in LA. So that was really cool. So he was with the Braves at the time, but he's my guy for sure right now.
As a lifelong Cubs fan, do you have a favorite game that stands out in memory
Ooh,
that
you know
you've
what?
attended?
That I've attended. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, yeah, if I didn't attend, it was,
Yeah.
Game 7, 2016 World Series.
Yeah.
That'll always be the greatest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But in terms of the ones I've attended, actually, the one that comes to mind first is the one that I experienced this year, which was Christopher Morel's walk-off home run against the White Sox.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was just amazing because, Morel, he's just full of big moments.
Mhm.
And to do that to our, crosstown rivals, and even better was the fact that I brought my two friends with me who were both White Sox fans.
Yeah.
So I was the Cubs fan sitting in the middle, White Sox fan here, White Sox fan there. And, they were talking crap to me the whole game because, the White Sox pretty much dominated the whole game.
Mhm.
And then it was like, okay, bases loaded. All right, we all know how this is going to end. And then it actually happened. And finally, I got to talk crap to them. So that was amazing. And I got it on video and I posted a video about it. And that's definitely most memorable as of now.
Yeah, I remember seeing your videos of that. You were like right behind home plate, right?
Yeah. Thankfully, it was a great view for it because the ball was to right center, sort of.
Yeah.
And you could basically just see the trail of the ball heading into the stands, and that was beautiful. And actually, I got to see Morel's first career homer too in his first at bat. I was in
nice.
left field for that, and saw the ball just go soaring out onto the street. So I guess they got to keep me around anytime Morel's playing, and he'll keep hitting homers.
So I have those similar questions towards the Bears because you're also a football fan. So who's your favorite all-time Chicago Bear?
Oh man, you know what? Devin Hester comes to mind.
Okay.
He was super fun to watch. Can't really get too attached to any quarterbacks that we've ever had. Devin Hester definitely is a big one for me. I grew up watching Brandon Marshall and guys like that too, but Devin Hester is the one that comes to mind.
Yeah. What about right now, currently on the team? It's hard, I know.
I do have a Justin Fields jersey. A Justin Fields guy. It's tough to judge the team and where we stand right now, but when he's playing his best, he's absolutely electric, and for that he will always be like my main guy to watch on this team.
And I feel like with the Bears and Angels, it's very similar, being the kind of fan.
Yeah.
And so I do have that same final question about the Cubs one. Do you have a favorite memory of a Bears game you've attended?
So I've only attended as a fan one Bears game in my life.
Oh, really?
Wow. And we lost to a backup quarterback. So not really too memorable, but for an entire year, I was working as an usher at the Bears games.
Oh, wow.
And so this was the one season where we still had Mitch Trubisky, and this was the season we went like 13-3, I think. This was the season of the double doink,
Oh, yeah.
But I was able to witness basically every home game that season, and they were really good that year. So I don't remember any game in particular, but just being in that atmosphere of a winning Bears team every week was outstanding. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. And nice. Who do you think has it worse, man? Angels fans or Bears fans? We both have one championship. We both have no memory of that championship.
Well,
and we always get hyped every year for our team because we're like, oh yeah, this is it. This is
our year, bro.
And then we just get let down so badly.
I think the difference is that the Bears don't have a unicorn on their team that can go down as the greatest player in that sport of all time.
True.
And are basically letting him go for nothing when they had the opportunity to get something for him. That's the difference. So, but we're both in a very bad place.
Yeah, it's not fun. Yeah. What about college football? Who's your team there? Because I've seen you do some content with college football as well.
Yeah, college football has been fun to talk about because I love how into it the fans get, and I'll see people fighting in my comments about there's different schools.
Oh yeah, they're so defensive.
Not that I encourage people fighting in my comments, but it's interesting to see the back and forth. But in terms of college football, this might surprise you, but I'm a Michigan football fan.
Okay, nice.
My mom is from Detroit. My mom's side of the family, all based in Michigan. My grandparents graduated from the University of Michigan. And they've had a pretty dominant football program over the years. So that's sort of been the team that I've been attached to.
Okay. I still got to get this down because I'm still trying to learn with the two different ones every single time. Is that the Spartans or the Wolverines?
That's the Wolverines. We don't. Okay. Michigan State is the Spartans, and we don't talk about them. We don't like them. In fact, I think they're actually playing this week, so we're definitely not going to talk about it.
Okay, for sure. I want to bring up the first time we met was in 2022, Los Angeles at the Content House for MLB All-Star Week. And we later played in the Creator Cup together. And the thing that solidified for me, knowing you were a solid dude and a cool guy, I gave you a ride back to your hotel where you were staying, and just the amount of gracious and how grateful you were after that ride. You seemed very appreciative of it. So I was like, all right, Trevor, he's a solid guy. And from then on, I was like, I fuck with Trevor. Trevor's a cool dude.
not a lot of people know it because of what they see from my content and how lively and whatever I am in my content. But that
Yeah.
was a really tough week for me. Just there was a lot going on
Mhm.
physically, emotionally in my life. And so, it was something that was supposed to be like super, super exciting and became kind of difficult all of a sudden. And
Yeah.
so for
Mhm.
you to come around and be such a help to me, just in terms of, transportation and knowing the city and everything like that, and just being a good friend just for talking and stuff like that, and being able to experience. I mean, we experienced the MLB draft together and stuff like
Yep.
that. I mean, that meant a lot to me, and so I really obviously wanted to show how much I appreciated that, and I think we
Yeah.
formed a pretty good friendship from it too.
Yeah. It's just simple as treat others as you want to be treated. Get off on the
I
right
agree.
foot. And I'll let Bobo go with the next one.
Oh yeah, of course. So, just kind of curious, what made you even take the interest in content creating, and how did it all start, really?
In terms of creating content, I've always sort of loved the idea of creating scenarios and filming them, being on camera. Um, I'm an on-camera actor. I've been in a
Yeah.
couple movies, couple TV shows, commercials, stuff like that.
Wait
So
a
I've
minute.
had
Wait a
that
minute. What?
experience.
I didn't mean to cut you off. What movies have you been in? What the hell? You
So
didn't even
the
tell me
main,
this.
so the main
Look
one
at him
that I
cheesing.
was
Look at him
in.
cheesing.
So I'm not even gonna hide it from you. I had no idea you were an actor. And so obviously for
Damn.
every guest, I get our notes ready. I'm like, all right, let's get the
Uh,
conversation topics. And I'm like, let me just look up some information about Trevor just in case there's some stuff I don't know. As soon as you Google your name, it goes Trevor Fahnstrom, actor. And I'm like, wait, what? And he's never told me this ever. And I'm like,
yeah,
he's got an IMDb and everything.
Dang.
yeah. You know what? It's something that, well, the majority of the work that I've done in the industry was
Mhm.
when I was younger,
Yeah.
as a child actor. I'm still active within the industry, but the majority of my work was back then. So
Yeah.
the main movie that I was in that people would know is it's called LOL,
Hmm.
Yeah.
with Miley Cyrus, Demi Moore, Marlo Thomas, Douglas Booth, Ashley Green, like a ton of different interesting people. So I
Yeah.
played Miley Cyrus's little brother in that movie. Demi Moore was my mom. Marlo Thomas was my
Yeah.
grandmother. So it was a real powerful family. But that was fun to film. That's the main thing that everybody knew me
Hmm.
for. Um, Shows, I was in Chicago Justice, which is a show sort of in the Chicago shows collection. Chicago Fire, Chicago PD.
Yeah.
But Justice isn't around anymore. It was only on for one season. So, and then I've
Hmm.
done commercials for Southwest Airlines, AT&T, Walmart, stuff like that. So,
It's wild. I never knew this. It caught me
Incredible.
so off guard. Well, actually, since we're on the topic, go to that part of our notes. I also have Thrill Ride, another movie you did,
yeah,
and then South Side, a TV show.
yeah, that was a TV show on Comedy Central.
Hmm.
Uh, Not a huge appearance, but I got to chase a guy down who stole some Jordans, so that was
Hey,
fun to
right
film.
on.
And I got to film that in my hometown of Chicago because it
Oh,
was
that's
I
sweet.
think everything was filmed and based in Chicago for that show, so that was a lot of fun.
So is that your most recent work acting was South Side?
Yeah, yeah, it's been
Nice.
it's been quite a while, but it was sort of it's still something I do, but once
Yeah.
the content came around, it's like that's really what I've been focused on the most, is
Yeah.
the content creation.
Would you say
So
your acting days are over, or is that something you'd still like to keep your feet wet in?
it's something I like to keep in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've had the opportunity to do some things, and once you make the jump from acting as a child to
Hmm.
acting as an adult, I mean it's a huge difference because when you're a child, for all they care, it's, oh, this is a cute kid who
Yeah.
looks like the
Hmm.
parents that we casted and can deliver lines well.
Hmm.
Once you're an adult, it's like, oh, you actually have to act. Like you actually
Yeah.
have to be good at this.
Hmm.
So it's something I'd like to continue to do.
Hmm.
And if anything, I hope that what I've established within the content creation realm will help me obtain more roles. Because
Yeah.
I'd like casting directors to see, oh wow, this guy has quite an audience. So casting him, we could I'm going to promote it. That
Yeah.
could bring a whole new audience to the project that they're putting out. So
Hmm.
hopefully, I can continue to stay in that work.
Do you have a favorite memory from any of the sets, like off camera?
Well, I don't know if I have a favorite one, but I have a very memorable one. This was on the way to set the first day filming LOL.
Hmm.
and it was like this in a part. So this was filmed in my scenes were filmed in Detroit.
Okay.
So they tried to make Chicago, or they tried to make Detroit look like Chicago because it was set in
Gotcha.
Chicago, but they filmed it in Detroit.
Yeah.
And anyone
Gotcha.
who knows Detroit or knows Chicago knows that they look nothing alike.
Yeah, I've been to both, and they don't, especially
They're
the
not.
downtowns.
They're not. No. And that's what they would show is the downtown
Yeah.
stuff. So, but
Yeah.
anyway, so first day of set, we're in Michigan, and it's in this apartment building, and we got to take the elevator up to set, which is where it was set in the apartment where I lived with Miley and Demi and all them. And it was one of those old elevators, not like not a new one. Beep, boop, boop,
Yeah.
not one of those. It's like
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They have the cage door and everything.
the elevator gets stuck.
No, dude.
This is me. This is my first like big acting job. It's like, oh my God, I'm gonna meet Miley Cyrus. I mean, I had just turned 10 years old, so it's like, me and everybody else that I know from school and everything. It's like, oh my God, he's gonna be Miley Cyrus's little brother and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like my dreams are finally coming true. I'm in this elevator, we're going up, stops. Yep. I'm like, it's not gonna happen. I'm just never gonna be in this movie. I'm never gonna meet Miley. My dream's over because I'm stuck in this elevator. Eventually, the elevator started moving again. Door opened, walk out. There's Miley Cyrus sitting on a couch. I said, oh, wow, there she is. So it ended up happening. But for a moment there, it was like, okay, are we, this is not happening. This is not happening.
So I want to know the difference between, because I also did child acting as an extra. I was in Santa Claus 3. I was in I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry. And the audition process for that was so easy. I literally just went to a high school. They took a picture of me. They took my height, and they were like, all right, we'll call you if we want you. So what was the audition process like for a bigger role like that?
Wow, this was a long time ago, so I'm trying to remember exactly. But as I said, I was 9 and had just turned 10 at the time. So there was the initial audition where they send you the sides ahead of time, and you're basically you read the scenes to a scene partner. Actually, no, it was just me to the person behind the camera. Actually, for the first round, there was no on camera. There wasn't anybody you were reading with on camera.
Yeah.
They're just off to the side of the camera, and you're reading with them. So there was just there was the initial audition, and then there was the callback, which I think was a bigger scene, so there were more lines to memorize. And as a child actor, that can be a lot. But I think my mentality back then was I just did the work and went for it. I didn't really think too much. I was just me. There was nothing to worry about,
Yeah.
And then so after the callback, I was at some summer camp, and my mom showed up and pulled me aside, and she's like, "You got the role." And I'm like, "Role?" She's like, "Yeah, you're gonna be Miley Cyrus's little brother." I'm like, "Oh my God!" So
that's amazing.
That was a really cool experience. And then actually after the movie came out, that was basically like in high school. That's how everyone came to know me in high school, was because of that movie. Like someone knew me from like our childhood, and she went to the same high school as me, and so she started spreading that around, and everybody in the school eventually knew.
Yeah.
And so I was the people would call me LOL and stuff like that in high school all the time. So
do you know how many kids you competed against for the role, or like a average number?
No, I have no idea, but it's usually a good amount that they bring in there. It's usually a good amount. So I don't remember. That was a long time ago.
All that matters is you came out on top and you got the role.
I got the role. I got to be Miley Cyrus's little brother, and not many people can say that.
With your TikToks, what I love is you're so good at getting the content up quickly for relevant events. But what I also have noticed, the more I've followed you and your TikToks and everything, you always have the perfect sound ready, like instantly, like to fit the situation. How are you so good at finding that sound so fast every single time?
Oh man. So it's actually really hard to find sounds on TikTok. It's really hard. Like you try to find these accounts where you can who are posting these sounds all the time, but you really just what I do is I'll scroll, and I don't really scroll TikTok for my like viewing pleasure. I scroll to find sounds. That's the only time I'm really on TikTok, other than posting or filming or any of that stuff. So just over the years, I've just sort of saved a whole bunch of sounds and sort of in my mind, I have this mental library of what sounds can kind of apply to each situation.
Yeah.
And so, you will see me use sounds multiple times for different situations, but yeah, I just kind of created this mental library of the sounds. And then as I'm watching a sporting event, as I'm, on Twitter seeing, or X, seeing, what people are saying about their teams or these games or whatever, I'm just cycling through the sounds in my head,
Yeah.
just like, okay, this applies, that applies. Okay, so between these two, which should I use? Let's use that one because that one's more popular right now.
Yeah.
So I just have the mental library, and then I have them all saved in my phone, and that's that.
Yeah. You definitely have it sorted very well, because every time I see you post something, I'm like, dude, that literally makes perfect sense for this situation. Like every time.
I know the viewers know for sure, but we just had Jackson Olsen on the podcast recently, and you were in the same original MLB Creator class as him, right?
Yep, I was. Yeah, we were part of that inaugural group.
From that creator class, we can see it right behind you as well. You got, what is that, like a little tote bag?
This was the box that they. So I think this was the year after I did creator class. This was for the beginning. No, it wasn't. I lied. That's not. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm telling you, the MLB and creator class, and I'm so thankful for this. They've sent me
Yeah.
so many different boxes, and I have all of them because all the boxes are so cool, like the designs and everything.
Yeah.
But then I don't remember what was from what. So I think
Yeah.
this was from when we initially made creator class, and they sent me the creator class gear. There was like an MLB hat, a shirt, just different items
Yeah.
that we used to help announce that we were in creator class. So this was the first box they sent me, and I have other
Tons.
boxes around
Yeah.
here from different things that they've sent me. So
If I have like a bitchin' box, I like cut off a piece of like the flat side and I just put it on my wall. And I'm like, that's a badass design.
Yeah. With boxes, the only box that I know I still for sure have is my shoe box for my first ever pair of Kobe's. And that's it. I was like, and it's dope. It has the logo on it. It's like embroidered.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
I don't want to throw that away. I'm just
no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well,
And,
so like, for example, the Rangers were gracious enough to send me their City Connect jerseys earlier this season.
oh wow.
No way.
And I thought it was going to come in just like a, normal whatever box. They send me this box, and so you open it and it lights up. Like
Oh,
like
man.
there's a
Dude.
red light, and then you like open these two like sections, and it's like a machine. It's a box, but it's like a
Yeah.
machine. So like there's like flashing lights and this and that and like crazy patterns and designs. You open it, I'm like, it was like they just gave me like a jersey from like I don't even know, like a jersey from the heavens or something like that. It was
Yeah.
like, oh, like, it was
Yeah.
like, what is this? But it was a box so complex and so cool. I'm like, I can never get rid of this. I don't even
Yeah.
know. You can't recycle this. This is probably like, there's probably like electronics and metal. Craziest
It's like a
box I've ever
hazardous
received.
item.
It's like, I don't know. Right, exactly. I'm like, I don't know what to do with it, but
Yeah.
I can't get rid of it. So it is somewhere in this room. I just don't know where.
I love that. What's your favorite experience you got to do with creator class?
Ooh, well, creator class, I enough to experience a bunch of things. I was able to go to some of the wild card games. I did the divisional series, I did the championship series, and the World Series. I think the one thing that stands out to me the most was the trip we had for the World Series.
Yeah.
We were in Houston for Game 3, and then, Houston for Houston for Game 2. Atlanta for Game 3, I think is what it was, because this was 2021 Houston and Atlanta.
Yeah.
So in Houston, they brought the World Series trophy to our suite, and so we got to take pictures with the World Series trophy. I got to film a video or two with the World Series trophy. One of which was like me like pretending to steal it, and then one of my MLB bosses dragged me out by my ear.
That's good.
That was really fun to film. And then, so we went from Houston to Atlanta, and then Atlanta, we were in the MLB suite, and this is like one of those times where you're like in a room of people and you feel like you're the least important person because everyone around you is just so important. So I was in there with CC Sabathia,
Dude.
2 Chainz was there.
Huh?
Jeter, didn't he go up eventually?
That was the year after I was there. That
Ah,
was 2022.
okay.
Jazz Chisholm was in there. Tukey Toussaint, Akil
Mhm.
Badu, a bunch of people. Oh yeah, and Harold Reynolds,
Oh yeah,
the
Harold
commissioner
Stowe.
of Major League Baseball, Rob
Rob.
Manfred, came
Right on.
through. He spent an inning with us. So yeah, it was one of the. Oh, Brett Phillips, of course, because Brett
Oh,
Phillips
dude.
was like the
Love me some
social
BP.
host, and Brett Phillips is like the greatest human being to ever exist. I
Dude.
love that man. He's amazing. He always is smiling, always a
Mhm.
good time, always positive energy. That's the kind of person you want to be around. So it
Luckily,
was amazing.
him signing with the Angels, I got to meet him on the field this year, and he
Yeah.
is just like you said, one of the coolest guys, probably the nicest and coolest guy in baseball. So much
He
fun.
Yeah. So this past spring, me and a bunch of other creators, including you guys, were there too.
Mhm.
Actually, we were all in Arizona for the World Baseball Classic and spring
Yep.
training,
Yep.
and we were staying at this Airbnb in Arizona, sort of like a content house.
Mhm.
And Brett Phillips came to the house and spent a day filming content with us. You guys obviously know D Storm because you had him on here.
Mhm.
D Storm had him on his podcast, and then Brett literally took the time to do content with every single content creator that was there. Every
That's
single
so
one. He
cool.
just took his
Wow.
time and just sharing laughs, having a conversation. He's just an amazing person, and you always wish for the best with him
Mhm.
because he deserves it. He deserves the absolute world.
Yeah, he does.
Now, like you said, you've done a lot. You've seen experiences. You've done a lot. What's your favorite ballpark that you visited so far?
Wow, that's tough because I've been to now. I think I've been to 15 ballparks now.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm always going to be biased towards Wrigley, so we're going to
Mhm.
omit that because we can't count that because I grew up
Yeah.
with that.
Okay.
That'll always be my number
Mhm.
one. Fenway's cool, historical standpoint.
Yeah.
It's a little small for my liking.
Yeah.
I liked Atlanta a lot. I liked Truist Park. That was cool.
Atlanta's both
Comerica,
of those are dope.
yeah, Comerica Park is very underrated in my
It,
opinion. And again, that may be a little bit of bias because Detroit roots, but some of the best food at a ballpark you can get is in
dude.
Comerica, and the fact that they have these big tigers literally
Mhm.
everywhere on the scoreboard, on the outside of the stadium, it's a really cool ballpark. So those
Before
are
I started content, I went to Comerica. I had no idea they have like a little Coney Island, like right when you
yes,
go in.
they have a lot of stuff. I mean, as I said, the statues. They have a lot of tributes to players from the past.
Mhm.
A lot of historical stuff around the stadium, and then, as I said, the food is.
Speaking of ballpark food, what is your favorite ballpark food?
Oh man, you know what?
There's only one right answer, and it better be those nacho helmets, brother. There's only one right answer.
That is that is. I don't think I've ever ordered a nacho helmet
Oh,
ever
he's
at any
Oh
game.
devastated.
my
He's devastated.
God.
Maybe the next time we're all at a game together, I will, just so
Yeah,
I can make you happy. But
Hey,
I don't.
if you come out to a game, I will buy you that helmet. All right, man.
there you
It's a
I,
free
go.
helmet on me.
I appreciate that. I'm holding you to that. All right. But see, then I'm gonna have to sit through an Angels game. And I don't know if you can
Oh.
do that to me. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love baseball. I've never been to Angel Stadium, so I'm trying to hit every ballpark. So,
You have still never been
but
to Angel Stadium?
I will. Hey, he'll get your helmet. I'll get your ticket.
And that's a promise, baby.
There
We
you go.
got you.
I would appreciate that. That'd be so awesome.
Yeah,
Hey,
man.
next time I'm out in LA during the summer, let's make it happen.
Yeah, let me know, man.
We're gonna make
But
it happen.
Yeah.
let's see. So in terms of ballpark food, I always go with like chicken tenders. I feel like that's just such a basic answer.
Hey,
But
no, I'll tell you what, at Angel Stadium, one of my go-tos, we got these Nashville tenders. So good.
oh yeah,
Not even
Oh,
that.
dude.
absolutely.
You've been to Yankee Stadium, right? Or have you?
No, no, I've only been to City Field when I was in New York.
Dude,
I've never
So
been to Yankee
we
Stadium.
went
I know what he's gonna say.
we went to New York in 2017 with the
Yeah.
softball crew. We
Mhm.
went to Yankee Stadium. Somehow, some way, Cap disappeared, and he was like, "I'm gonna go get some food." Comes back, biggest like double gulp cup I've seen of soda, and then on top a full bowl of chicken tenders and fries.
Like that was the lid.
Like legit, it's the lid is the bowl and it's food. So the straw is like 3 feet tall.
I still have mine because I collect
That's
souvenir cups. It's
mine's probably
somewhere in
grown
here. Yeah.
it was like it wasn't like separate things just
No,
stacked on top of
no,
each other.
it was
actually,
one
like,
contraption. Didn't you use it
cohesive
for
thing.
cereal the next morning?
Yeah, I literally in New York, I ate Fruit Loops out of it the next morning.
That's legendary.
That
That is
catch was
absolutely
sick.
legendary.
Yeah, and
Legendary.
you filmed with a lot of mascots around baseball as well. I think the standouts to everybody is Blooper, and then you got the Fanatic for
course.
Philly. Is there one to you that you have a special attachment towards? I'm assuming also there's the Cub from the Cubs.
Yeah, the most content I filmed with a mascot was with Clark the Cub. Clark's
Okay.
great to me. Mr. and Mrs. Met was a lot of fun because I got to, the video was kind of based around, the fact that they're in a relationship, and I was like the third wheel, and that was a lot of fun to do. Wally from the Red Sox is great. Pause from the Tigers is awesome too. They're really, you can't go wrong with any of them. Clark, just because I've filmed so many videos with Clark over the years. He's been great. We went to the Field of Dreams game, and I filmed a video with him there.
Yeah.
So the scariest thing, and they're not supposed to do this, is when they somehow talk to you because they're like, this is. I hope I don't get anyone fired by saying this, but I'm in the suite. This is the day that I filmed content with Blooper. I go to shake up with Blooper. Blooper goes, "Hey, yo, dog, I love your content. Like, anything you need from me, I got you." I'm like standing there. I'm like,
you don't talk
again because you ruined my perception of you. I'm pretending like there's not a human being in that costume, and now Blooper I know is a human, and I hate it.
That's
and I'm like, what? I'm like, Blooper watches my content. Like, yo, dog, I love your videos. Anything you need, I got you. I'm like, what? Like, what is happening? So that was the day that I got I was ruined.
You recently got to be an MLB host with Ozzy Albies at the 2023 All-Star Game. How awesome was that?
Honestly, and I've accomplished a lot in terms of this MLB ride that I've been on, and I'm forever grateful for every opportunity I've gotten. But that might have been my biggest moment so far. That was just absolutely incredible. And thank you so much to Ozzy for being such an incredible co-host because I was there in Seattle. And I was like, "Who's hosting with me?" And they didn't tell me until like the day before because they were still working on a contract. I think initially it was supposed to be Adley Rushman that I was supposed to work with, but then last minute they're like, "Oh, we're working something out with Ozzy Albies," and I'm like, "Oh, that's great." And of course I didn't really know much about him, and like linguistically, like I was like, I don't know, does he speak a lot of English or whatever? And then I come to realize he speaks 4 languages.
Yeah.
Wait, and I'm like, what? Oh, he speaks English. Wow. English, Spanish, Dutch, and Papiamentu, which is what they speak in Curaçao.
Oh, wow.
Where he's from. So he speaks 4 languages. I think he said he's working on a 5th. I don't remember exactly which one it was. But that is like the best guy that you could possibly have as a co-host because, we got to interview a bunch of different guys and a lot of them didn't speak much English.
Yeah.
So he was able to be the interpreter for me. For my questions, and he's such a great guy. He and I were joking the whole time, and it was awesome. And we hadn't met until 5 minutes before we went live on that show.
Yeah,
wow.
But within 5 minutes, we were talking like we were old friends and stuff, and just being out on that field for the Derby. I'm out there for the anthem, and I'm literally standing there, hand over the heart with like all the players on the line. You got fireworks going off, you got the flyover. I'm like, yo, did I make the league? Like, what's happening right now? So that was incredible, and my adrenaline was just off the charts that entire time. And it went by so fast. I was just having so much fun with it.
Yeah.
Now I gotta wonder because I'm curious on how it's even possible for you to be here on the podcast when you have the NLCS Game 1 going on in a couple hours.
Yeah.
But jokes aside, you look the exact same as Corbin Carroll. We gotta touch on that, brother. Ain't no way you're gonna go through that.
Nah, yeah, you have to. You really have to. That's the hot topic right now is me and Corbin. Yeah.
And so when did you notice? Did you notice before, or did your fans point it out to you?
I don't even know. I think there's a little combination of both. I knew who he was heading into the season. Of course, at first I was confused. I'm like, wait, this guy's barely played. How did they give him like an 8-year contract at whatever amount he got?
Mm.
Some ridiculous amount, I think. But then once I saw him playing, I'm like, oh no, this guy deserves it. So I started to learn more about him, and then I was like, wait, facially, like facial hair wise, I'm like, we kind of have similarities. But then I would get comments when I would film my videos, like when I'd be filming out on the field with like a helmet on and a bat and everything, and everyone would be like, yo, Walmart Corbin Carroll. And I'm like,
No.
like, huh? So, it was one of those things where it became further established during that home run derby that I was hosting, because Major League Baseball asked me, they're like, who do you want on the show with you, like as guests? And I'm like, you guys got to get Corbin Carroll because he's an all-star. He's from Washington. And I'm like, my fans would freak out if it, the whole saying where it's like, we've never seen those two in the room at the same time together.
Yeah.
When they say for people who look like, well, that's literally what happened. We were two people on the field at the same time. And I ended up asking him about that when I interviewed him. I was like, do you see it? He goes, I wish my hair looked like yours. I was like, what I expected you to say, but I love it, and it's amazing. And Ozzy was just standing there the whole time, like,
what's going on?
Wait, who's who?
He asked me, he asked me if I was faster than Corbin, and I was like, yeah, obviously. Like, so yeah, and ever since that video came out, because that did like 250,000 views, and people were all over that video. And then I did a transition video wearing a Diamondbacks hat when I was at the wild card this year. And as soon as I put on a Diamondbacks hat, it's over. It's over, because I literally got hundreds of comments. Walmart Corbin Carroll, Corbin Carroll's brother, Corbin Carroll's twin, off-brand Corbin Carroll. So it's I love it though. I think it's great, and hopefully I get a chance to see him again and work with him, and maybe we can make a funny video or two about it.
From that day, is there any other all-stars that was your favorite interview?
Yeah, the two that stand out to me, Corbin and then Ronald Acuna, man. I mean, just star power. I mean, he's going to win MVP this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
Because it caught me off guard when he walked up. Because I had a thought that he was going to come up, but like we had planned out who was going to come up for this and that. But a lot of the people we planned out didn't actually come up because they were doing other things or they declined or whatever. So I had no idea who was coming up throughout that live show until they were coming up.
Yeah.
And I'm like standing there, talking to Ozzy, and I glance over, and it's Acuna and Juan Soto just standing there behind the camera, like looking at us, arms around each other. And I'm like I'm doing my reads to camera and everything, and I'm just, oh yeah, wow, two of the biggest stars in baseball are standing right there. So, and then Soto didn't come on, but Acuna came on, and he was, he came up, he was vibing, he was dancing, he was so much fun, and his chemistry with Ozzy is just off the charts. Those two are literally like best friends. So to have that on the show at the same time was incredible. And they brought over the home run derby chain when he came on.
Oh wow!
So we were all just hanging out, talking about the derby chain and stuff like that. And Acuna was dancing, and that was just so much fun. And just it didn't hit me until afterwards who I was talking to throughout that entire day. I got to talk to so many stars, and I'm forever grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah, I think it definitely helped that Ozzy was your co-host, because like you said, they're like best friends. So he's like, he just like, Ronald, get over here, man.
Yeah,
get real quick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is I asked Ozzy too. I'm like, who do you want on the show? He goes, so he wanted Arcia, and then he wanted Ronald, and I was like, okay, he'll obviously get those two because those are like his two best friends on the team. He's like, oh, I want Olsen, I want this guy. I'm like, listen, I understand that you guys have like 10 all-stars, but we got to have more than just Braves on the show.
Yeah.
So, but we got a good balance of people. We had a couple Diamondbacks. We had Josiah Gray from the Nationals. I don't remember exactly everybody we had, but we had a good variety of all-stars on that show. And we also had like guys like Adam Jones on the show and stuff like that. So it was a good group of people. And it was really a lot of fun.
Got to get you a Corbin Carroll jersey. Got to complete the whole fit, bro.
Dude, that is the goal. When I go to Arizona when I'm in Arizona for NLCS, I'm going to get a jersey. And for the longest time, I've wanted to do like a Corbin Carroll prank. I want to like show up in like the gear, maybe have like shades on or something like that, and just see what happens.
See if you get some fans. Yeah.
When I left the ballpark in Milwaukee for the wild card, 3 kids were like running by me, and they go, "Oh my God, it's Corbin Carroll!" I'm like, "No, it's not. It's not. but I think that would be like great content if that happened. So the Corbin Carroll jersey is definitely like the next item on the list for me.
Yeah. And I want to say to our viewers, for the people that are watching the video version, I've heard Trout a few times. I've heard Rizzo for myself. I've heard Lindor for Mobo. If you have any others for any of us, Mobo, me, Trevor, let us know. And now, go ahead.
Austin, I'm feeling like you said you get Trout a lot.
I get Trout
So
and Rizzo commonly.
Do you get Renfro at all? Since Renfro is similar to
I've never
Renfro's
got
a good one.
Renfro. Surprisingly,
I was
thought
in
of it now.
Toronto. I was in Toronto on the field doing player interviews, and this was when Mike Trout was. I think he was coming back from his injury because it was the Blue Jays and the Angels were on the field taking BP.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see from afar because I was on the Blue Jays side, but I was like, "Oh my God, Mike Trout's coming out!" I think it was like Matt Dice or something like that.
Yeah.
Because there was just enough of him that looked like Mike Trout. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to get to interview Mike Trout," and then it was Matt Dice.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, never mind.
Yeah.
I take back what I said.
Yeah.
So.
We got a few similar looking white guys. That was the same way I felt when the Mariners were on the field and I was there in Anaheim. They have so many white guys that look the same that I was like, I don't know who's who.
There are some of these teams that are just the nondescript white guys. They're just like, hey man, do the thing. I have no idea who you are. But.
So you also played baseball in high school as a left-handed pitcher. And where did that journey end for you as a player?
Started playing when I was super young in high school. I played all 4 years in high school. I was only 2 years on varsity. I did 2 years on JV. I was an outfielder and a pitcher until varsity. Then I became a PO. But that was okay because pitching was always my main thing. And then, junior year to senior year, I was really pushing for the idea of playing college ball, and I was able to get some offers. But then my senior season didn't really go the way I planned it, and I was dealing with an injury, which I then rehabbed over the summer between senior year of high school and freshman year of college. I did take an offer to play junior college baseball in Illinois. But that never really panned out because I was rehabbing into the fall season. So I never, fall ball is very important for junior college baseball. And so I never got to play in that and got to show what I was capable of. And also just coming back from the injury, I was never really the pitcher I once was, both physically and mentally. The mechanics were off, the mental state was off. And overall, I just kind of fell out of love with playing. So after my freshman year of college ball, I decided to step away from the game. So it wasn't really the ending that I always wanted, but at the same time, without that ending, I would not have gotten into the content creation, which has changed my life in an amazing way, and I will forever be thankful for that.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason, man.
Were there any big achievements that you were proud of during your playing days?
Well, I was team captain senior year, and that was awesome just because it was a group of guys that I had been around all 4 years, and to be able to be a positive influence to them and the younger guys was awesome. In terms of in-game accomplishments, my best stretch of baseball was I had two starts back to back. I think it was 12 strikeouts and 15 strikeouts.
Damn. Holy crap.
Yeah. And the 15 strikeout game, I didn't even start, actually. It was the semifinals. It was fall baseball. But we played in a fall league that we played other high schools. So it was basically like normal spring season. And they were saving me for the championship in case we made it. So they started another guy for the semis. And that guy did not have it that day, didn't record a single out in the first inning.
Ouch.
So then I went the full 7 in relief.
Wow.
I struck out 15. But at the same time, I think I threw like 130 pitches. So that probably contributed to the arm issues I had later in the season and kind of derailed my career. So it's like I have the memory of striking out 15 guys, which is phenomenal, but, might have caused me to, end my career prematurely. But, as you said, everything happens for a reason, and I'm at where I'm at today, and I still have the game in my life in a different capacity. So, I'm still in a good place with the game of baseball.
All right. Of course. That was all of our notes. We had a great podcast here. I want to end by saying, what is the next big goal of yours? And it's somebody you want to work with, something you want to do? You have anything in mind?
Is there anything cooking?
Yeah, I mean, I know we mentioned it earlier. The idea of working with Corbin Carroll again would be awesome.
Yeah.
I think that would just be such a great thing for the content and putting him and the Diamondbacks even further on the map.
Yeah.
I want to help them. At the end of the day, I want to help grow the game of baseball as best I can. So really moving forward, it's about working with as many teams as possible, experiencing as many new ballparks, and I've been doing a lot of player interviews over the course of this MLB season, and I like to continue that. I'd like to push further into football, maybe get some working with some NFL teams. Really,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, sports have done so much for me.
Mhm.
Um, that my goal with my content is to help grow the love of sport within my audience. Whether it's baseball, football, basketball, whatever. I just want people to be able to appreciate sports the way that I've appreciated them all these years. So whatever it takes to do that, working with different teams, ballparks, mascots, players, you name it. I want to do all of it. Travel and experience everything.
I love that. Love that
Beautiful.
answer because I say that all the time off camera. I just want to grow the game of baseball and make it fun at the same time.
Yes.
And I absolutely love that answer. And speaking of traveling to parks and everything, I still got a few to check off that coming year. So maybe we can get one in together. I still got to do Ohio. I got Cleveland and Cincinnati. Those are both pretty close to you.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
I did Cleveland, and that Cleveland was awesome. I was there for the ALDS last year, electric.
Nice.
And Cincinnati was a goal of mine this year that unfortunately did not happen. So I think
Mhm.
that is definitely one that you and I can target, and I think that would be pretty cool to experience together.
All right. Awesome,
So,
man. Thank you for joining us here on
thank you,
Off the
Trev.
Field podcast. And everybody, Thursday, you can get the audio version 2 p.m.
Fridays at 2 p.m. as well on YouTube. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you have that notification bell, like, subscribe, share, tell everybody you know.
Let us know what other content creators you want to see join us here as a guest. Thank you, Trevor Fahnstrom, for joining us. It was a
Thank you,
great
Mr.
episode.
Trev.
And
Thank you guys. Appreciate you. Really appreciate it.
you too, man. Have a great day. See you
You
guys
too,
next
guys.
time.
Later, man.